Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. 55,000 episodes from networks like TLC, HGTV, Food Network, and more. If you can dream it, you can stream it. See what I did there? Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
A different future starts with you. That's why GoDaddy does more than help you find a name. You can create, sell, and get found online, so any small business can drive change or build an empire. We need a new generation of thinking. Your way of thinking. Start different at GoDaddy.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
What's up, everyone? Freddie the Pizza Man here, host of the Pizza Man podcast. Now joining forces with ChristopherMedia.net. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, the Pizza Man podcast. And, of course, find all the podcasts on ChristopherMedia.net. We talk Detroit sports. I bring on guests, passions, opinions, all for Detroit sports and more. We even talk pizza. So thanks for tuning in and spread the word.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, number 97. My name is Chris. JR, did we lose you?
No, right here. JR here in Michigan.
Ross here in Durham.
And we have a guest today, don't we, JR? Oh, wait, Eric. Oh, Eric, you're new. Sorry. You got skipped over.
That's okay. I was having troubles, but I think I'm back.
Well, Eric is with us. Longview, Washington.
Yeah, all the
JR, why don't you introduce our guest for us?
And we do have we're very fortunate to have our guest, Andy, from the Brewers Association. Thanks very much for joining us, Andy.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Happy American Craft Beer Week.
Absolutely, and that's what the theme of this episode is. It's the celebrating independent craft brewers for American Craft Beer Week, and specifically instructing our viewers when you go shopping for craft beer, look for that independent craft beer seal, or as we say, hashtag seek the seal. So that's this week's theme. Chris, I think you have the quote of the week, and then we can talk to Andy a little bit.
My beer came preloaded with a quote right on the label here, right on the box. It's like they knew we needed one. It says, "Because without beer, things do not seem to go as well." That is from the diary of Brother Epp from the Capuchin Monastery in Munger, Kansas, 1902. Right on, Brother Epp.
Yeah.
If you only knew.
Nothing seemed to go well for any of us tonight until we all cracked a beer in frustration. We had some technical issues, but now we're rolling. So let's get right into the show.
See, that was our problem. We just needed all open a beer.
As soon as we all had an open beer, everything came together. So again, we are fortunate to have. We'd like to welcome Andy to Beer Nuts, episode 97. And one of the things that I teach in my class at Schoolcraft, for those of you who don't know, I teach at Schoolcraft College. I teach the Marketing and Business, Marketing and Operations course in the Brewing and Distillation Technology program there. But one of the things we do talk about is the definition of a craft brewer as defined by the Brewers Association. So I'll defer that to you, Andy. Can you explain to us the criteria for membership?
Sure. The Brewers Association's craft brewer definition has three major pillars. It's small, independent, and traditional. Small being less than 6 million barrels. Independent, no more than 25% owned by a non-craft brewer entity. And then traditional, essentially being these days, we don't recognize flavored malt beverages as beer. Generally speaking, what we look for is malted barley, hops, yeast, water, and then certainly it is adjusted over the time to recognize that corn, particularly in the United States, is very traditional. We don't necessarily keep anybody out just for being a brewery that's flagship has some sort of adjunct such as corn or rice.
Excellent. And then to further expand on that, we are celebrating the Seek the Seal theme here. And would you explain the origin of the seal, when you first started promoting the use of that on your members, and maybe a little bit of statistics? I understand, I was on the website today, over 3,400 breweries are now using the seal, so that's great news. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the seal?
Sure. I mean, you kind of started it with the craft brewer definition. One thing that has kind of become clear over the past several years, as far as the definition is concerned, is that our members and the board of the Brewers Association sees that independence pillar as particularly important, and probably the easiest for our brewers and brewery members to defend. So a bit, probably a year ago, maybe a little bit less, the Brewers Association came out with a certified independent craft brewer seal. And that seal is an upside down bottle signifying the role small and independent craft brewers have played in turning the beer world upside down. Since then, it has been the majority of my work and my colleagues' work at the Brewers Association to provide awareness of this independent seal, to get adoption of the independent seal. You mentioned, right around 3,400 small and independent craft brewers have adopted the seal by assigning the licensing agreement and downloading the digital artwork. And then as we grow our numbers for adoptions, we recognize that adoption isn't enough, and that we really need the activation of the seal to add value and credibility to what we're trying to do.
All right, sounds good. Well, I've noticed, it was somewhat challenging to, a lot of my favorite independent brewers haven't yet caught on to this, but I have a feeling a lot of them probably have labels already produced. So, it may be some time till they all, more breweries jump on board. But it is nice to go into a store, and for those of us that aren't craft beer aficionados, so to speak, we'll be able to detect, right away when they see that, know that their hard-earned dollars are going towards an independent craft brewer versus a big beer conglomerate. So that being said, Andy, you must be really thirsty. So are you going to review a beer for us? Tonight's episode, the only criteria for each of the beer nuts and Andy is that each beer that we drink tonight will have the seal on the label. So I believe you're going to enjoy a beer with us, right, Andy? What do you have for us?
Sure. I'm sipping on Upslope Brewing Company's craft lager. Upslope is from Boulder, Colorado, which is where I'm calling in from tonight. They're a can-only brewery, and kind of what you mentioned, that you were surprised to see that many of your favorite independent craft brewers have not gotten the independent seal on their packaging yet. Upslope had the same concerns as many of the other breweries, particularly, a lot of pushback from brewers that have devoted their packaging to cans. They didn't understand the bottle. They thought it was totally against, their branding. But Upslope, embraced the independent seal really quickly. It looks amazing on this orange can, basically just, the same color as its orange logo that it utilizes. Craft lager, I would call it an American style Pilsner. Probably more on the line of, a Mexican style cerveza. It's definitely a beer. I'm getting a lot more, fresh yeast character from it, which I kind of like. It reminds me of a Keller Pils. I can't wait to hit 90 degrees and have this all the time in my refrigerator. My favorite pairing with this particular beer, particularly this time of year when it's been cold all winter long. I like to throw on some little neck clams just on the grill, wait for them to open up, and little garlic, little hot sauce, and drink that with this beer. It's absolutely amazing, and fantastic. And all their beers proudly are rocking the independent seal. So Upslope Brewing Company, Boulder, Colorado.
Sounds fantastic, and thanks for sharing it with us. I'll look forward to seeking that out on my next visit to Colorado, which will probably be next fall for the GABF, and maybe we'll see you there, Andy.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to meet up.
Well, sounds good. Well, before we let you go here, just any of the other beer nuts have anything they'd like to ask Andy? Ross, didn't you have a question for Andy?
I think he covered down on it.
Okay.
In that explanation.
Well, just want to say that both of the beers I have tonight, I'm not sure if I'm going to review one or two, but they're both cans and they both have the seal. One of them has a pink seal on, and that's the Brewery Vivant Tropical Saison that I'll be enjoying later. But
yep, mine's a pink seal too.
And they look pretty cool on cans, right?
Exactly.
Yes, and also another brewery that I really enjoy out here that, Andy, you may have heard of them. They created quite a buzz at the GABF, is a Speciation Brewery out here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, doing great things with wild cultured beer, wild ales, and I just saw for the first time a bottle of their beer with the seal on. And I compared it to some of the ones in my cellar, so they must have just jumped on board recently. So that's great to have them participating.
That's fantastic. Mitch has Colorado roots. I actually had him speak in a small kind of what I call a sit and sip during GABF last year. Really, really exciting beers, and what a great brewery. And so, certainly excited for, again, kind of what we were talking about before. Nobody thinks that speciation is an independent, and yet they rock it because it's important, not only because they see the value in it, but because it's important to the rest of the beer community.
Well, amen. So, before we let you go, really, the value of the seal to those of you that are shopping for a craft beer, you'll always know that you're not buying what we call a faux craft. The Blue Moons of the world, the Elysians. I guess I shouldn't be targeting specific brands, but ABI, the Evil Empire, has 10 craft breweries under their umbrella now, and we would rather spend our hard money. I mean, at least me personally would rather spend my money supporting our independent craft brewers rather than these big beer giants.
It's street cred. That's the way I look at this label.
It's really not, if the product's quality and they allow the brewers to do their thing, that's one thing. But some of these larger brewers basically have kind of targeted independent craft breweries to gain market share at the expense of, because they're losing market share on the big brands. So, and then there's other ones that aren't really unfriendly to craft brewers. So there's varying degrees of likes and dislikes and disdain for the large breweries. But if you pick up a bottle or a can, a beer with the seal on, that 100% you're supporting an independent craft brewery. That's about all I have. So, Andy, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you on. I know you have a softball game to get to, so we're going to cut you loose and let you go hit the diamond. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you out in Colorado this fall.
Sounds good, gents. I'll start warming up and doing my stretches, but you guys have a great time reviewing beers, and happy American Craft Beer Week. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, it's great to have Andy on, and that's I think all of us are thirsty. It's been kind of a long day and a longer evening here recording. So who would like to start this off, follow up Andy? Who's thirsty? Eric, you want to start on the West Coast, or should we start east and move west?
I can if you want. I'm already down one crowler, but I've been waiting to open this beer. So.
All right. Go for it.
So I am working on, or about to work on, a Fremont Head Full of Dynamite, which I don't think I've sent this to Johnny yet either, because they're doing a series of them. Head Full of Dynamite isn't just one beer, it's the last month's and the month before that, and I think this is volume 3, which was from, it's hard to tell with a sticker, April or May, so it's brand new. But it is 6.8% IPA with a nice pink Brewers Association independent craft certified logo right below the name Fremont Brewing. And another one of them that has just a crazy label that catches your eye immediately, and they sell out, and then you try to go find some more, and they sell out again, and you try to go find some more. But that all being said, this stuff is amazing. What you would expect from another hazy IPA. I swear next week I won't do a hazy IPA. But pours just golden, can't see through it, and you get so much fruit on the nose. It's just amazing that they're not putting fruit in this stuff. This one doesn't say for sure whether it's actually adding fruit, but I don't think they do. Fremont makes some amazing stuff. Have you ever had any of their dark ones? I think a few of you guys at least have had Abominable and Dark Star. But I wish they told me which hops they were using. It doesn't say it on this one. And unfortunately, it's probably about the same as everyone else, Citrus and Simcoe and everything else. But tastes amazing. Everyone that's been looking for Fremont, they pretty much sell this out no matter where they go. And, 4-pack limit, half the places you go, sometimes only 1 or 2 can limit, because there's just not enough to go around because they make a new one every month. So if you're in Seattle, which I think one of you is going to be pretty soon, you'll be trying to catch some of this. Hopefully they'll make another one here every month for the next couple of months before they run out of whatever hops they're using. Cheers.
Oh,
Cheers.
I miss going to your area of the country, Eric. I've resolved to be put in the ground in the Pacific Northwest. Now, I've had a few Fremont beers. I think it is considered Seattle's like one of their original craft breweries, if not one of the first.
Yeah, they actually, even though it doesn't list the hops on the beer, it says we are family owned from 2009, locally made with all the ingredients they can use, which around here, I mean, most of our hops come from Yakima and surrounding area. Russian River and all of other places get their hops from the places we get our hops. I actually got 2 buddies from college that have hop farms in Yakima. So if I didn't have 4 kids, I would be over there smelling them, tasting them, and stealing a bale for myself. But everything we get over here is just pretty amazing. And Fremont, just the shelf stuff they've got at a couple bucks a can is amazing. And even this stuff, I mean, this would be $5. You bought it on the East Coast, and it's $3.50. So it's amazing, and it smells so good, and it's hard not to just pound the thing on 1 or 2 drinks.
Well, especially not hard to pound it with 4 kids. I'm sure they drive you to drink plenty.
Yeah, they're. I'm actually surprised how I'm sitting outside and after playing a little frisbee and doing little swings earlier, I'm hiding outside and it's working.
Well, I know I have my hands full with 2, so God bless you. But I'm sure that crowler you had earlier didn't hurt.
Yeah, if we were reviewing 2, that crowler came from back at your guys from Mike Trushu. I don't think we've got on any of these things yet, but he'd be a good one of these days too if he wasn't working so much.
Absolutely, somebody we've been trying to get a Pennsylvania person on, although that I'm a native Pennsylvania, but we'll keep working on those guys. All right, Eric. Well, thanks a lot. I guess we went from Colorado west to Washington. So as we work our way back east, I think Kansas is next. So I think that puts you on the clock, Chris.
Yep, I am right next door to Colorado. I could be there probably an hour or 2 if I really wanted to. I'm in Dodge City, by the way. Yes, that Dodge City, Wyatt Earp and all that stuff. And it's my review on it so far. But anyways, I'm on the road. I'm in Kansas. And, kind of going with what I did last week, I'm drinking local. I picked up a selection from a Free State Brewing called Stormchaser Ipa. I don't think I can get any more Kansas than that. I mean, label. It's got it looks like a 50s kind of cartoonish pickup truck on the label. Chasing what looks to be a big heavy storm cloud here. The logo wasn't on this particular brand. I had to actually go to the website and make sure that I was buying a properly credentialed beer. So I've poured this. I haven't drank any yet. I've been oh so patient, but I can tell you, I'm about maybe 2 feet away from this thing, but the room smells like grapefruit. I mean, and you get your nose in here. It's grapefruit. It's a little bit of other citrus, and then it's floral. I mean, it's pretty typical of IPA. It's had a nice light head on it for a good long while. Let's taste it. Ooh, that's nice. Oh wow, I'm taking another sip of that. That was so good. Well, not as much bite as a lot of IPAs have. I mean, but it's that citrus flavor right up front, and then as you're swallowing it, you're waiting for that kind of bite that you get at the back of most IPAs, and this one mellows out right at the end. It's really good. I mean, the mouthfeel, it's bordering on light and crisp, which is kind of what you want in an IPA. Let us read from the box here. The box has all the fun stuff on it. Looks like it's about 6% ABV. It's up there in IBUs. You can tell this is an independent brewery because they have a chart with an X that they mark. There's no numbers, but I mean it's damn near the top of the IBU scale. Stormchaser IPA. This American IPA features a special edition of wheat malt with citrus and tropical notes provided by Citra and Centennial hops. My guess is that wheat malt is what's making this thing kind of mellow out at the end. And I believe this beer is only available in Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska. So Lieutenant Dang may be able to get his hands on some of this, but if you ever find yourself in the heartland and you see Stormchaser IPA from Free State Beer, pick it up. It is delicious. Any of you guys ever had any of this stuff? Or anything from Free State? Anything made it to your way, JR, from Lieutenant Dang?
No, I haven't, but I'd like to.
Well, it's if I come back to Kansas, I'll definitely Free State. Definitely, the cooler was full of Free State stuff. So my guess is this won't be my last sampling of anything from Free State Brewing.
All right, so sounds like a great one.
So now, are we heading over the Mississippi now? Are we done out west?
I think so. I think Michigan's probably next, and then North Carolina. So I guess that means I finally get to review my beer. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am going to review a beer that I've already drank half of because I was so thirsty. But this is Brewery Vivant Tropical Saison Michigan Farmhouse Ale. It's ale brewed with pineapple and mango, 5.5% alcohol by volume, proudly displaying the independent craft beer seal in pink on a kind of like a teal color on the can. So, and there's a like a pink rooster on there, which is Vivant's logo. Kind of reminds me of the pink flamingo down south. I think that's the look they're going for. Anyway, I've been drinking this for a while, and when I poured it, it had really healthy white, snow white foamy head. Beer itself is it's a little bit of a murky golden color. It's cloudy, but not like New England IPA cloudy, more of just a subtle haze. But really, really fruity, tropical fruits on the nose, as you would expect from the pineapple mango that it says on the label. Now, I had this last year and wasn't so thrilled with it, but this year is unbelievably good. I'm going to take a sip and just describe. I mean, tons of, mango, pineapple, tropical fruit on the nose. That's all I'm getting. It's just really, really tasty. It's not tart at all. It's not bitter at all. It's not overly sweet either. It's a nice solid saison with really nice fruity flavors, but not cloyingly sweet. perfect amount of carbonation in this. Maybe a light effervescence, it says on their website, but kind of like champagne, tiny bubbles. Really, just a really easy to drink summer drinker. Again, 5.5%, not too strong. Really tasty. Lots of fruit, lots of tropical fruit. The pineapple and mango. It's not overwhelming fruit. It's not overwhelming sweet. It's like, kind of like that nice light saison with just the amount of. It's perfectly balanced. Just a small hop presence that doesn't overtake. Everything's done kind of like a level below overwhelming, and just really works perfectly. So tasting notes: the saison yeast provides peppery spice coupled with hop complexity, balanced by the addition of real pineapple and mango. And again, I know I use this often, but it's like a concert. Everything just comes together. There's not any one thing jumps out at you as being overly strong. It's really perfectly made, and good comeback. Because last year's I didn't care for, but this year they nailed it, and it's a home run. I will buy another 4-pack of this in a heartbeat. So just as I always like to do, I'll read a description. It says, "Live the good life, pair great beer with great food, and enjoy it with friends and family. Tropical Saison is a summertime reverie, bringing together the best our Midwest sunshine has to offer. Slightly spicy character, light effervescence, and the addition of real pineapple and mango juice make this beer perfect for a Michigan summer. The hop presence lends a complexity to this brew. Live the bon vivant." There you have it. And most of you know, you guys know, I'm not particularly a big Saison, Belgian style drinker, but this is one of my favorite Saisons I've ever had. And really impressed with this. I'm not fluffing it up just for the hype. It's just I'm really enjoying it more than it's exceeded all my expectations. So there you have it. Anybody else had this?
I have not, but I want to try it.
Yeah, you have to find this. It should be in stores when you get back to Michigan. Seek it out. It's real easy to drink. I know you'll love it. So all right, I guess that brings us to Ross. Let's head to North Carolina and see what he's got for us.
Okay, I have from Oak and Dagger Public House, a brown ale called Cool Beans. So I guess I've gone off my normal track of managing to sneak a stout in one way or the other. But this is definitely a coffee forward beer that I have started to enjoy recently. I hadn't had too much Oak and Dagger until maybe the last 7 or 8 months. They've been open longer than that, but they haven't really canned stuff. They were more of a brew pub only situation downtown Raleigh, but now that they're canning things and I'm seeing it on shelves, I get to have it more. I don't actually make it to Raleigh all that often. I'm more in Durham. So I'm going to go ahead and crack it. It's called Cool Beans, if I didn't say it, so that's a kind of a hint that it's going to be a coffee-forward kind of beer. It is a nice dark brown color. A significant amount of head that is got some retention to it here. It is not going down very quickly, and I was a little aggressive in my pouring when I was trying to do too many things at one time. I will say that I first, trying to think when I first had this, I had it on draft probably 4-ish months ago. And then I keep some cans around of it now. As everybody who has listened to the show before knows, I'm a very coffee-forward beer person. I go for coffee stouts a lot. So anyway, on the smell, again, we're getting lots of coffee, some maltiness, and a little hint of chocolate, just a slight hint. Okay. Taste-wise, yeah, that's it. It's coffee up front and kind of coffee all the way through. You also get a little bit of a chocolate sweet taste in there, and then a slightly bitter finish. This is probably carbonated a little more than most things. Like I said, I was aggressive with the pour, but it's still pretty carbonated. Maybe a little thin, but It's also a lighter beer. It comes in at 6.3%. For me, that's a little bit lighter, I guess. And again, it's got the characteristic that I like, in that a lot of coffee, both on the smell and the taste. I'm enjoying this. I guess some people might consider it a somewhat basic, straightforward taste, considering some of the other things you guys have had. But that's kind of what I enjoy, is a nice, straight, basic coffee beer when I'm looking for it. So, and like I said, some of the other things I've had in the past, as far as Gizmo and the place in Salisbury, I always forget the name. But I'm always looking for a good, straight, basic coffee beer to have around to be able to drink relatively cheaply. And this hits the spot. It's very tasty, and it's for me, it's a lighter option, as opposed to a lot of the heavier stuff that I tend to prefer. So totally recommend this if you're in the area, if you're in Raleigh. This stuff is showing up in the bottle shelves and the bottle shop shelves in the Triangle now, Durham, Raleigh area, and it's a good beer to have. So that's my review there.
And what is the name of the brewery again?
Oak and Dagger.
Oak and Dagger.
Yeah, Public House.
Oak and Dagger, Cool Beans. There you have it.
And Cool is Coole. Unfortunately, their website's not real informative. There's not a lot there except kind of like their menu and what's on tap. They don't have a description of their beers on their website or anything. That was kind of unfortunate. I didn't know that until I went to go look a little bit earlier today after I just kind of decided on this. But you can go to www.oakanddagger.beer and see. But the beer that I'm actually drinking now won a local Brewers contest. It took a gold medal for the Carolinas, so it's just North and South Carolina Brewers. The Carolinas Championship of Beer, I guess. And it's pretty good, so if you have a chance, try it.
You did a good job describing it. Certainly makes me want it. I love a good coffee beer. But, and I'm glad I tried this Saison, because normally not a style I would care for, and I found a winner. So we're gonna do an abbreviated hipster tipster this week. I just want to expand upon the theme of the show. One of the reasons that I really believe in this craft beer seal is for people that aren't as knowledgeable as us, that might not know that they're not getting an independent craft beer when they shop. So I'm going to an article from the pourful.com, pour, P-O-U-R. Came out last June. It's called A Quick and Easy Guide to Fake Indie Craft Beer, Buyer Beware. And it says, AB is no longer an American company, and these are no longer indie craft breweries. Those are facts, and when you give them your money, you're selling out your culture. So this particular article only singles out AB, Anheuser-Busch InBev-owned craft beers that they have bought out. And I'm sure that I'm probably never going to get an employment offer from AB InBev. But I'm going to just read from this article, so it's not my opinion. This is this article's opinion, but I probably agree with a lot of it. And it just says, note, this list is concerned with AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch only. There is a 100-year history of marketplace thuggery and underhanded business practices from AB. No other corporate owner or investor of an American India craft beer has worked diligently and daily and declared their antipathy towards and contempt for the American independent brewing community as AB has blatantly. Fact, large corporate interests are going to invest in or acquire breweries. That's just the reality of American free enterprise. It's pointless to freak out over every corporate investor. AB InBev is the real enemy. Please don't pepper me with stuff like, what about Heineken? If Heineken turns into a pack of amoral douchebags, we'll deal with it at that time. For now, Heineken is a good, solid owner of a great brewery is not the problem. So here's an easy guide to these fake indie craft breweries. Don't be fooled. Wholly owned subsidiaries of AB InBev. Goose Island, which is the only one of these that I will drink, and I'm considering giving that up. Russ has already thrown them down the hopper, I believe. Elysian Brewing out of Seattle. It used to be a great craft brewery. They're now owned by the Evil Empire. Blue Point Brewing, Long Island. Carback Brewing out of Houston, Texas. What a shame. They made some great beers before being bought out. 10 Barrel Brewing from Bend, Oregon, up Eric's Way.
Boo! I didn't know that.
Yeah, 10 Barrel. Sold out to the Evil Empire. Sold their soul to the devil. Devil's Backbone Brewing Company in Virginia. Breckenridge Brewing in Colorado. Four Peaks Brewing in Arizona. Golden Road Brewing in Los Angeles. And, of course, Ross knows all too well about the grand finale, Wicked Weed in Asheville. Last year when Russ and I went to Asheville, I had always wanted to go to Wicked Weed, but it was after the AB buyout. We walked by, and I was tempted to walk in, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. They're dead to me. And we did go into a bottle shop, and on the end cap, they had all these, like, fire sale, AB-owned brand, Wicked Weed was on the shelf, like, as a clearance item, like, get this out of my store, half price. And it had, I believe it had actually labels with, like, a Budweiser label over it, or an AB, it was the AB Eagle.
Wow, ruthless.
So if I can, I'll go ahead and plug that bottle shop if you don't mind.
Please do.
Yeah, so that was, we were actually at Beer Study in Durham, and the guy who runs the store, JD, a friend of mine, he took it probably harder than I did when that went down. And he actually printed out the little Anheuser-Busch logo and taped them to all the bottles of remaining stock of Wicked Weed that he had on the shelf in his store. That was his own store that he did this, right? So that was how he felt about it. He took down all the Wicked Weed on the day that it happened, which was a Wednesday in May last year. He took down everything in his store, just removed it all.
Well, there you have it. So, listeners, make your own choices, but I'm not going to argue that there might not be some good tasting beers in that portfolio, but they will find a way to ruin those brands eventually over time, just like they have iconic brands like Bass Ale, Beck's, Rolling Rock. I'm sure there's plenty more.
As an aside and follow-up, there is a book coming out in June people might want to read that details the whole AB InBev purchase of Goose Island, and goes into very great depth about some of the decisions and lack of intelligence that went into the decisions AB InBev made when trying to ramp up production at Goose. It's called Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out, and written by Josh Knoll, and it'll be coming out in I guess I think June 1st is the publication date, so you should be able to get it on Amazon at that point. But I read some excerpts of it, and it's really interesting stuff.
Sounds fascinating. I'm sure it'll just confirm reality for many of us. So there you have it. I'm not going to badmouth. I mean, we all have an affinity for Founders beers. Founders is 30% owned by I can't remember the name of the. It's the owners of San Miguel. I can't remember the exact name of the Spanish ownership group that has a 30% stake in Founders. But I don't look at them as, they're friends of craft beer. And if anything, that's just going to allow Founders to expand internationally. Same with Lagunitas and to a lesser extent Shorts, who only, I believe, 19.99%. So they're still recognized as an independent craft brewery at this time. They were invested in by Heineken and Lagunitas. Lagunitas is now 100% owned by Heineken, so they're not a member of the Brewers Association. But again, Heineken is really not assaulting the craft beer business as much as they are trying to take a brand like Lagunitas or maybe Shorts down the road to international destinations. And I think that's a good thing, but that's just me. We're here to celebrate independent craft brewers on this episode. So, those other breweries that don't meet the criteria. Some of them are more hostile than others to independent brewers. AB InBev is certainly at the top of the list of violators, and I know that Peter Coors from Miller Coors, there's been a lot in the news this week of him being up in arms about some things that were said at a recent craft beer conference. He's been very defensive, trying to defend his company's position, but Miller Coors is a pretty big company, and they have a lot of clout. And really what it comes down to is a lot of these companies, the bigger companies, try to take as much shelf space as they can and leave very little for the small guys. And that's pretty much the gist of it.
I was going to say the key thing to take away, and I know this because I worked in, obviously, I worked for an international investment bank for a while. And one of the things that disturbed me while I worked there was they had a budget for paying regulatory fines. It was in the budget every year. And it was to the tune of a few $100 million worth of money set aside every year for paying regulatory fines. And we know that a company like AB InBev has the exact same thing. They know that they're going to pay a certain amount of regulatory fines every year for their actions, but to them it's worth it because it's their way of taking care of business.
Well, the small independent craft brewer has a passion for what they do, and their own motivation, and taking pride in what they do, whereas a corporate giant really is only accountable to their shareholders. That's the bottom line. And the bottom line is the bottom line. All they care about is profits.
Yep.
That's just the way the world works. So anybody have any more beers? Ross, did you have a second one, or?
No, I didn't. Good? I wasn't really thinking about it. I could have, but
all right. I have one more here.
What I know off the top of my head is a bomber, and I don't want to crack that.
Well, I have one grand finale here, and then we can go to Mexico City. But I'm about to go on a 4-day golf vacation, so I might as well start now. Vacation starts right now, and this beer is called Stay Tuned Imperial Stout. It's from Weyerbacher in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's in a can with a brown label, proudly with a white independent craft beer seal. It's 10.1% alcohol, 45 IBUs, 23.8 Plato, and 40 SRM. For those of you into specification. So I'm just going to pour this. I've never had it. Sent to me by my buddy from Philadelphia, Michael Palestino. Thank you for that, brother. And it's nice cola flavored or cola appearing head. Nice like light brown. Oh man, roasted malt, big time. Let's see here. I don't believe there's coffee in this or anything. I think it's just a straight Imperial Stout, not barrel aged. It's just a good, solid Imperial Stout.
So I'm getting Weyerbacher?
Yeah, Weyerbacher. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
It's called Stay Tuned Imperial Stout.
Yeah, we had.
No. You know what? I am completely wrong on this. I apologize. I have messed up. I had two beers here. One was from Weyerbacher, and this is from Free Will Brewing. You're right.
Yeah.
So Ross busted me here. I'm in vacation mode a little early here. But it is really cool can. It says Stay Tuned. It's got an old-time phonograph on a cartoon of a phonograph. It says Stay Tuned. Have you had this beer, Ross?
Yes, you gave me a couple cans of it at the Falcons game.
Ah, okay. I did.
Yes.
I don't think I gave it to you. I think Michael did because I've never purchased it. I must have got it from him.
Yeah, you already had it. Yeah.
These actually came to me, a couple weeks ago, so they're a fresh batch.
Well, I remember it specifically because we had some after we got back, and I really did enjoy it. It was good.
Yep, and it's I'm really enjoying it because I'm getting great depth and great flavors. Like chocolate, really nice little bit of smokiness, roasted malt, but there are no additives. I'm so used to getting, vanilla beans, bourbon barrels, and I love all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, cinnamon, chilies, I love all that stuff. But this is just like a bare bones Imperial Stout, and it stands on its own. It's so flavorful without any of that stuff, and it's kind of a nice change from a lot of the, as they so-called, pastry stouts that I enjoy frequently. So yeah, it's really pleasant to drink.
I know it was pretty cold when I had one. I remember that being something that kind of warmed you up as you went along. It was there was a little bit of a burn at the very end of it, as I recall. It's been a while. I remember enjoying it, and I remember being cold when I was outside when I was drinking it. So Chris and I probably had one. When we were
it's warmed pretty nicely because through the length of this entire episode, the can, which was refrigerated, has now warmed significantly. But as you know, with dark beers, that's not a bad thing by any means. I just found this on the web, so let me see. American Porter and Stout, Free Will Brew. I would see here, Imperial Stout. Oh, this isn't the Free Will Brewing. It's beerconnoisseur.com. Let me see if I can. There it is. Just seem to be really technologically challenged tonight. It's just been that kind of night. Well, pretty much the only thing that comes up is a picture of the label. So I guess that's what we're dealing with, just like you had that website. Oh, here it is. This Imperial Stout has a roasty aroma with hints of toasted marshmallow, followed by intense flavors of dusty dark chocolate, burnt sugar, and a warming finish. So I didn't really pick up any marshmallow, but definitely the burnt sugar and the warming finish. Everything other than the marshmallow hits it for me. I'm looking for the marshmallow. I'm not getting that, but definitely burnt sugar. But it's a great stout with a lot of depth of flavors. Without all those adjunct additives. So, great beer to end with. All right, well, anybody have anything to add before we head to Mexico?
Drink local, especially this week.
Amen. Yeah, American Craft Beer Week, drink local. Patronize your little independent craft breweries. Ross, you want to shout out a couple of your locals there down in Durham?
Well, certainly in Durham, like I said, Oak and Dagger is right in Raleigh. Star Point Brewing is one of my favorites, right in Durham. Both Theme's a good place to hang out. They're probably, I can sit here and go on and on, I guess, but those three will do for now for anybody who wants to visit.
Well, I'll name three of my local favorites. Of course, top of my list always is Conan Brewing out of Warren, Michigan. Also with a second location now in Clinton Township. Love their beers, love to visit, and I know, Ross, you're a big fan too. So Batch Brewing in downtown Detroit doing great things. Cellarman's up in Hazel Park doing great things. Drafting Table out in Wixom, Michigan doing great things. Ascension Brewing in Novi, Michigan. And last but not least, an up-and-coming brewery that's already on fire is Holmes Brewing in Ann Arbor, Michigan, doing some great things with hops and a great kitchen. If you like Korean cuisine, they do it up right. So there's a couple of our locals here in southeastern Michigan in the Detroit metro area. So seek them out, and cheers, everybody. Drink local.
Cheers.
Eric, do you have any local shout-outs?
I think Eric.
He's got a million up there.
He does. Eric had to bail. I got a text from him saying he had to jump off. He's got his hands full with 4 kids, and he actually said he was getting the stare from his better half. So at least he was able to join us. It's challenging for him because we're doing this later at night, and it's still pretty early out there on the West Coast, 3 hours behind us. So he's still got family obligations. So we're always happy to have him as the newest beer nut. And
I believe there's a hell of a festival going on in Portland this week because of American Craft Beer Week, if I recall from my time out there.
I don't.
We had.
I'm just trying to think of stuff that was really good out there. That, man, I'm disappointed about 10 Barrel. I can't believe that. I did not know that. They were one of my favorite breweries out there.
Sold their soul to the devil. They're dead to you now.
We had a really great little thing happen here in the Triangle. The Triangle Craft Brewers Association had kind of a contest where I guess it was kind of like an Iron Chef kind of thing, where they were given an ingredient to work with, I don't know, several months ago. And 2 weeks ago, they had the tasting for all the different beers that had made in the Triangle area, that had included the ingredient in their beer. And it was very interesting. All different styles were represented. You had things from tiramisu stouts on to New England IPAs that had all included whatever. I can't think of what the specific ingredient was now. But then to follow that up, they had the Triangle Craft Beer Fest last week, which I attended, which was just around 30 of our local breweries. And they all brought, or the ones that had entries into that contest brought them, and everybody brought something local that was either not like a shelf item, or it was a one-off, or it was something new that hadn't been canned yet, that kind of thing. So everybody had like 2 taps, but one of them was something that you just weren't going to get anytime else. It was either a small batch that they had done for the contest, or a small batch one-off, or just something new that they hadn't come out with yet. And that was a really good idea to kind of wrap up the whole indie craft beer thing. And I liked the concept of them having that contest the week before and then bringing it to a local craft beer show where everybody could try it. So we did that here, and that was really fun.
Sounds like it. And for those of us, Ross and I have Philly Roots, Philly Beer Weeks coming up on June 1st, I believe, is the opening day. So always some great beers tapped throughout the city. I don't know what we've done to deserve this. Well, what Philly's done to deserve this. But they do get some Russian River stuff. I was fortunate enough to get Pliny the Younger a few years ago, Philadelphia. I know recently the Alchemists sent some Focal Banger and some Heady Topper down, some kegs down, and so always a great time. So a little plug for Philly Beer Week coming up June 1st.
Well, Monk's has always got the Russian River stuff, right? I mean, they always.
Monk's always has a tremendous lineup. Anybody that ever goes to Philadelphia, the no-brainer is to go to Monk's Cafe. Probably the premier beer bar. But there's several really good beer bars that you'll find in the area. And, of course, Tired Hands is there, and a couple other breweries that fly under the radar. Neshaminy Creek's another favorite of mine. Crime and Punishment was a little one that I really enjoyed a visit to when I went back for the Eagles parade. Super Bowl 52 champions, thank you. So,
Rub it in.
Yes. Hey, you got them, smoke them, right?
I know, right?
We waited a long time for that, right, Ross?
Yeah. You saw what Jason Kelsey said today, right?
I did. Yeah, 52 years was a long time, and one bowl of food isn't satisfying us. We want another bowl, so gotta love it. All right, well, Dugout's not here to scold us for talking about sports on the show. So, but yeah, we all raised our glasses one last time before we go off the air. We were hoping to have Uncle Pete on the show tonight. Something came up, family commitment, and he had to skip out on us at the last minute. So you're here with us, Pete. Cheers. And Dugout is on a business trip to San Diego. I'm sure he's probably soaking up some unbelievably great beers out there, but he's tied up with it.
But that's a rough one.
He's got a boondoggle out to San Diego, so I'm sure he's with us in spirit as well. So cheers to Uncle Pete and Dugout, and hopefully they'll be on our next episode, be able to join us. Anything else before we head to Mexico City, gentlemen?
Just make sure you follow us on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast, on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. You can email the show, beernutspodcast@christophermedia.net. Other than that, Let's go to Mexico, JR.
All right. Well, as they say in old Mexico City, AMF.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.